Well, hey, it is the prophet Bishop Mclendon, and I am coming to you. The Lord said to me, he said, son, so many people think I am in control. He said, I am not in control.
It's just proof that some people should not be teaching. Sometimes when you hear something that's shocking and you find out who said it, you say, okay, that makes sense. Clarence Mclendon is known to say some things that are just ungodly. Remember, this is the man who said that God told him to divorce his wife because that current wife was not the one that God chose him, and that he's living in sin as long as he stays married to her. Now, he'd already been having an affair with this woman prior to the divorce, but another story. He's also the same person that said that Jesus is not the only begotten son.
That's why after the resurrection, Jesus is no longer called the only begotten Son of God. He is called the firstborn from the dead.
So when he comes back and says this, it just it's par for the course.
The Lord told me to keep it. What we need to do right now is to pray. And I need to share this because as I was walking through my home and praying today, the Lord said to me, he said, son, so many people think I am in control. He said, I am not in control. I'm not the one doing this. God isn't doing this. Let's make that very clear.
Okay, two things before we come back to it. He says this, God is not the one that's doing this and that he's not in control. Well, maybe God is doing it, maybe he's not. I don't know how this particular fire started. If it started by lightning and the winds picked it up and carried it, well, that is certainly God. He's the one that controls it. There's no electric company that controls the lightning and the wind. Now, let's say it was started by a cigarette or what have you. Be that as it may, we certainly know that God is in control. As we're going to read a passage, I wish you would have read the earlier part of the passage, but again, let's let him say some things and then we'll go back to the scriptures.
But he said, I'm not in control. And I know for a lot of Christians, even good religious, well-intending people, they think, what do you mean? Listen to Psalm 115:16. It says, even the heavens are the Lord's, but the earth he has given to the children of men. See, God has given man dominion in the earth.
Now, that doesn't mean that God is not in control. Let's go to the text. The heavens are the heavens of the Lord, but the earth he has given to the sons of men. Doesn't mean he's not in control. As a matter of fact, if he just strolls up just a little bit to verse 3 of Psalms 115, but our God is in the heavens and does whatever he pleases. Does he only do what he pleases only in heaven? No, he does whatever he pleases everywhere. He's God. He's sovereign. What does that mean, Clarence, that he's sovereign? That means that he can do what he wants, when he wants, to whomever he wants, however he wants, just because he wants, because he's God. You don't have that ability. God does. Now, to make this point even more vivid, let's look at what God can do, what he does. Here we see in Isaiah 45, and you'll see it also in other places in Isaiah, as well as Amos 3:6. He says, the one forming light and creating darkness, that's God, causing well-being and creating calamity. I am the Lord who does all these. When God can do whatever he wants. Now, it'll be calamity for us. He has a reason for doing so, but God is always in control. Remember what the Bible says, the earth is the Lord's. Speaking of Psalm 24:1, the earth is the Lord's, and all in it contains the world and those who dwell in it. For he has founded upon the seas and established upon the rivers. And so even though he's giving us the reign of the place, he's still ultimately in control. He is the landowner that is going to come back one day to see what we have done. He is in control. To hear this foolishness makes absolutely no sense. Let's go to another passage that we need to look at. How about in Matthew 8:24? This is Jesus calming the storm. Now he's in the boat and the storm is raging. And what happens? You know the story. He wakes up and he rebukes the waves and the wind. Then the men were amazed in verse 27 and said, what kind of man is this that even the winds and the sea obey him? When someone comes and tells you, this is just, I don't even know that a brand new Christian would even make this mistake, said that God is not in control. He is. He absolutely is. Now, does that mean that he's that he's responsible for all of the sin and all of the bad? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that he still has control. It's not as though that God has lost control. Think about the statement that he's making. If God is not in control, then he has lost control if this earth belongs to him. And so to make that statement impugns the power and the sovereignty and the intelligence of God. He is in control. We may not understand it, just like when you're a child or you're a parent talking to your child or to a grandchild or whomever, and they don't understand what's happening, and to them things might not seem like it's going right, but you might be in control. You know what's happening. You're supervising the things. You're making sure things don't get out of hand. You have everything in control. That's the God that we serve. That's the God that owns this planet. That's the God that put together this planet. That's the God that is going to restore this planet. So yes, Clarence, he is in control. And again, once again, you are a bad teacher. Amen.